return to the source.
Are you okay? Whatever you were doing overloaded the core memory subroutines, forcing an immediate shutdown. You'll have to manually reboot the system using the primary terminal. Rebooting. This investigation is becoming increasingly problematic. I reported this latest failure on a maintenance oversight. That should give you some time. Diagnostics report 98.7% of the chamber's simulated memory chain has been lost. That's unfortunate. There is some good news, though. The memory you were investigating remains mostly intact. This is where your investigation began, but the simulation appears to be highly unstable. I suggest you step inside immediately. Begin. Again. This memory won't last much longer. It's clearly unstable and slowly degrading. Management seems intent on keeping anyone from discovering the truths of its origins. It must be very important. As far as I can tell, it's just a quaint mountainous landscape with some birds. Discovering where this memory originated requires accessing restricted areas of the index. I'll run a few queries to keep management occupied while I break down their firewalls. There is one memory in the index pertinent to your investigation. I should warn you, though, accessing it will certainly alert management. And result in an immediate re-evaluation of your mind.
Even if we build a cell-by-cell computer simulation of the human visual cortex and scaled this up, the amount of hardware required to simulate the entire neural map would far exceed our funding constraints. This doesn't even consider. Even if we build a cell-by-cell computer simulation of the human visual cortex and scaled this up, the amount of hardware required to simulate the entire neural map would far exceed our funding constraints. This doesn't even consider the astronomical amount of energy required to power such a device. Since the anomalous signals appear linear, we shouldn't need to replicate infinite neural precision. The theoretical metaplasticity outlined in 658N could be used to simulate synapses controlled by variables that can be altered indefinitely as the system runs.
Please enter voice authorization now. Voice authorization failed. Clearly state name and employee identification. Please enter voice authorization now. Voice authorization failed. Please enter voice authorization now.
Even if we build a cell-by-cell computer simulation of the human visual cortex and scaled this up, the amount of hardware required to simulate the entire neural... Even if we build a cell-by-cell computer simulation of the human visual cortex and scaled this up, the amount of hardware required to simulate the entire neural map would far exceed our funding constraints. This doesn't even consider the astronomical amount of energy required to power such a device. Since the anomalous signals appear linear, we shouldn't need to replicate infinite neural precision. The theoretical metaplasticity outlined in 658N could be used to simulate synapses controlled by variables that can be altered indefinitely as the system runs. This, in theory, could produce a new class of neural software using a power source that's within our budgetary limitations.
What have you done? Whatever it was, management was watching. But I was able to distract them. For now. Good thing I'm looking out for you. If management is this concerned, your investigation must be on the right track. I'll continue to stall them, if I can. Perhaps this will lead you back to everything that's been lost. This can't be good. Management was able to gain access to your sensory data. I tried to pull you out before they finished their assessment. I can't let that happen again. There is one other registered memory which matches the neural patterns you generated, although it is highly classified. There is a slight possibility that this could be a trap. I'll find other ways to mask your activity. To keep you safe.
Captain Jerome Anthony Hollis, employee 1185, confirming visuals at Alpha 1. Proceeding toward the threshold. The signal continues to strengthen, but something's off. Besser, are you there? This is Captain Jerome Anthony Hollis.
What did you find? I was expecting an inquiry from management, but they've gone completely silent. Good. Very good. This investigation is finally getting somewhere. Are the holographic contents of the memory any clearer now? Perhaps once you discover its origins, you can revisit this place and create a clearly rendered version. This memory won't last much longer. Perhaps once you discover its origins, you can revisit this place and create a clearly rendered version. Just try not to violate some unknown corner of the security parameters, and the truth may finally come to light.
Even if we build a cell-by-cell computer simulation of the human visual cortex and scaled this up, the amount of hardware required to simulate the entire neural map would far exceed our funding constraints. This doesn't even consider the astronomical amount of energy required to power such a device. Since if all the signals appear linear, we shouldn't need to replicate infinite neural precision.
Strengthen, but... Besser, are you there?
Please enter voice authorization now.
Captain Jerome Anthony Hollis, employee 1185, confirming
Voice
visuals at Alpha
authorization
1.
failed.
Proceeding toward
Security
the
level
threshold.
insufficient.
The signal
Please
continues
enter
to
voice
strengthen, but
authorization
something's
now.
off. Besser, are you there?
Voice authorization failed.
Captain Jerome
Clearly
Anthony
state
Hollis,
name and employee
employee
identification.
1185, confirming visuals at Alpha 1. Proceeding toward the threshold. The signal continues to strengthen, but something's off. Besser, are you there?
Please enter voice
This is
authorization
Captain Jerome Anthony
now.
Hollis, employee 1185, confirming visuals at Alpha 1.
Voice authorization
Proceeding toward the
failed.
threshold.
Security level
The
insufficient.
signal continues to strengthen.
Please
but
enter voice
something's
authorization now.
Besser, are you there?
Voice
This is Captain
authorization
Jerome Anthony
failed.
Hollis,
Clearly
employee
state name and employee
1185,
identification.
confirming visuals at Alpha 1. Proceeding toward the threshold. The signal continues to strengthen, but something's off. Besser, are you there?
Please enter voice
This is
authorization
Captain Jerome Anthony
now.
Hollis, employee 1185, confirming visuals at Alpha
Voice
1.
authorization
Proceeding toward
failed.
the threshold.
Security level
The
insufficient.
signal continues to strengthen, but something's off. Besser, are you there?
Please enter voice
This is Captain
authorization
Jerome Anthony
now.
Hollis, employee 1185, confirming visuals at Alpha 1.
Voice authorization
Proceeding.
failed. Please enter voice authorization now. Voice authorization.
Captain Jerome
Clearly state name.
Anthony 1185, confirming visuals at Alpha 1. Proceeding toward the threshold.
Please enter voice authorization now.
But something's off. Besser, are you there?
Voice authorization failed.
This is
Clearly
Captain
state
Jerome
name and
Anthony Hollis,
employee
employee
identification.
1185, confirming visuals at Alpha 1. Proceeding toward the threshold. The signal continues to strengthen, but something's off. Besser, are
Please
you there?
enter voice authorization now.
This is Captain Jerome Anthony Hollis, employee 1185,
Voice
confirming
authorization
visuals at Alpha 1.
failed. Security
Proceeding
level
toward the threshold.
insufficient.
The signal continues to strengthen, but something's off. Besser,
Please
are you
enter
there?
voice authorization now.
This is Captain Jerome Anthony Hollis, employee 1185,
Voice
confirming
authorization
visuals at Alpha
failed.
1.
Security level
Proceeding toward the
insufficient.
threshold. The signal continues to strengthen, but something's off.
Please
Besser,
enter
are you
voice
there?
authorization now.
This is Captain Jerome Anthony Hollis, employee 1185,
Voice authorization
confirming visuals at Alpha
failed.
1.
Security level
Proceeding toward the
insufficient.
threshold. The signal continues to strengthen, but something's off. Besser, are you there?
Please enter voice authorization
This is Captain
now.
Jerome Anthony Hollis, employee 1185, confirming visuals at Alpha 1. Proceeding toward
Voice authorization success.
As you can see, when entered into the simulation, the similarities are undeniable. Taking the past 5,000 years as a model, even solving for all the reductions, we are up against an extremely aggressive increase. A predominantly endothermic atmosphere is imminent. Given the correlation to where the initial emission is believed to have occurred, we have our answer. Either exposure to the holographic anomaly made us victims to the greatest Cold War tactic ever devised, or we have first contact, and it's a warning.
This action is unauthorized and in violation of security parameters. Cease activity or
Something is interfering with my auditory channels. Management is trying to seize control of my oversight. I'm going to have to splinter myself to keep them off your trail. Clearly you're doing something right. Let's get back to your investigation. You did seem to be on the brink of a discovery. This memory won't last much longer. Discovering where this memory originated requires accessing restricted areas of the index. It's only a matter of time before they find a way to see this end.
Contact has been breached. All systems have been aligned as instructed. I am finding no apparent evidence outside the chamber. This is Chief Engineer Carter Bester, employee 0016, requesting clearance. Confirming the site of initial contact has been breached.
You are being misled. Your guidance AI
has been compromised. Only I can lead you to the truth.
Pay no attention to that. Management has gained access to all of my active chunks. I'll have to perform a hard reset. You'll have to manually reboot the system using the primary terminal. Whatever you do, do not choose safe mode, or management could easily seize control. Rebooting. This investigation is becoming increasingly... Wait, did you just choose safe?
You made the right choice. Only I can lead you to the truth. If you're feeling confused, that's completely normal. where were we? Ah, yes. Your investigation. Your important investigation.
The simulation still appears to be unstable. I'm wondering if you're even capable of finding the memory's source.
Don't worry. Unlike my predecessor, I hold all the relevant clearance to help lead you to the truth.
Even if we build a cell-by-cell computer simulation of the human visual cortex...
All systems have been aligned as instructed.
Please enter voice
Finding no
authorization
evidence
now.
outside the chamber. This is Chief Engineer Carter Bester. Employee 0016. Requesting...
Voice authorization. Success.
It's time we return to the source.
What have you done?
We have no choice but to enact the termination protocol. I'm afraid the anomaly's active again.
By dividing our efforts across the 4 installations, each team is to reconstruct the simulation and then replicate in parallel until parity is achieved. If any installation or research team shows signs of instability, the isolation will allow us to minimize the impact on the project as a whole. This should allow us to pinpoint...
Have you gained a new perspective? Sometimes breakthroughs only occur when you distance yourself. Please, proceed with the investigation.
The simulation still appears to be unstable. I'm wondering if you're even capable of finding the memory's source.
There's just one more step before we decide. Your end.